All right, we are about to go on an absolutely incredible journey. We're going to start with this huge planet-wide view of all life on Earth, and then just zoom in, past the forests, past the animals, all the way down to the single shared instruction manual that connects every single living thing. Let's dive in. It sounds like the beginning of a really weird joke, doesn't it? But the answer reveals this beautiful, shared blueprint that connects every living thing on this planet. It's a story we're going to piece together one step at a time. So, to really understand that blueprint, we have to start with the biggest question there is. What does it actually mean to be alive? Our journey starts from the widest possible angle. Believe it or not, there's a kind of rule book for being alive. And whether you're a giant whale or a microscopic amoeba, you have to follow these 7 fundamental rules. This isn't just some boring list. It's the universal code that separates life from, well, non-life. You see, biologists look at all of life organized into this incredible pyramid of complexity. It starts at the very top with the entire planet and narrows all the way down to a single tiny atom. We're going to start right at the peak. Welcome to the biosphere. Now, this isn't just one single place, it's every place that life exists. From the insane pressure of the deepest ocean trenches to the thin, cold air of the highest mountain peaks, this is the grand total of every living thing on our world. And now, let the zoom begin. We're flying down through massive biomes, like rainforests, past communities of different species, through whole populations of a single species, and finally, we land on one individual, you. But our journey isn't done, not even close. To find the real blueprint, we've got to go smaller. Because you see, every single organism, from a towering redwood tree to you and me, is built from the same fundamental Lego brick, the cell. Okay, this right here is one of the most important ideas in all of biology. It's called the cell theory, and it's so simple but so profound. 1, everything alive is made of cells. 2, they are the absolute basic unit of life. And 3, they only come from other cells. This single idea supports almost everything we know about how life works. But not all cells are created equal. The very first major split in life is between the simple prokaryotes, think bacteria, and the complex eukaryotes. That's us. So what's the biggest difference? Well, prokaryotes have their DNA just kind of floating around inside. But our eukaryotic cells, we keep our DNA neatly packaged and safe in a central library called the nucleus. Plus, we've got all these other tiny specialized organs called organelles, and each one has a specific job to do. Now, let's zoom into our world, the eukaryotic world. I know this looks really complicated, but don't worry. On the left, we have an animal cell, and on the right, a plant cell. They share a ton of the same machinery, right? Like a nucleus in the middle and mitochondria for energy. But the key differences are what make a plant and an animal an animal. So let's break that down. Here are those key differences, nice and simple. Plant cells have that rigid outer wall for structure. That's literally why a tree can stand so tall. They have chloroplasts to turn sunlight into food, which is amazing. And they have a giant water-filled vacuole for support. Animal cells, on the other hand, were more flexible. And we've got specialized structures like lysosomes that act as the cell's cleanup crew. Okay, so we've got the building blocks. But how do you go from one of those to trillions? How does life actually grow and make more of itself? Well, the answer is in this elegant, almost dance-like process called the cell cycle. A cell's life isn't just one mad dash to divide. Actually, it spends about 90% of its time in what's called interphase. This is the all-important prep phase. It's growing, it's meticulously copying its DNA, and it's double-checking everything before the main event, division. And that main event is mitosis, this beautiful 4-step dance. First, in prophase, the DNA packs itself up into these tight little chromosomes. Then, in metaphase, they all line up perfectly right down the middle. Next, in anaphase, they get pulled apart to opposite sides of the cell. And finally, in telophase, 2 new cells start to form. It's just this incredibly precise and elegant process. So what's the whole point of mitosis? It's to make a perfect clone. One cell becomes 2 absolutely identical cells. This is how you grew from a baby into an adult. And it's how your body heals a cut. It's basically life's essential copy machine. But a copy machine, as great as it is for growth, is not great for evolution. For sexual reproduction, you don't want clones, you want variety. And for that, life has a completely different strategy up its sleeve. Meet meiosis. Now, it might look a little like mitosis at first, but it's way more complex. It actually involves not one, but two full rounds of division. And the goal here isn't to make an identical copy, it's to create 4 genetically unique sex cells, sperm or eggs. Let's just put them side by side. It makes it really clear. Mitosis is for growth and repair. It has 1 division, and it makes 2 identical cells. Meiosis is for sexual reproduction. It does 2 divisions to create 4 totally unique cells. And this is key. Each of those cells has only half the original DNA. That difference is the very source of all the genetic diversity we see in life. Look, here is the absolute best way to remember it. Mitosis is a photocopier. You get an exact duplicate every single time. Meiosis, that's a genetic slot machine. You pull the lever and it shuffles the genetic deck to create brand new, totally unique combinations for the next generation. And that brings us to our final act. We've seen how cells can copy themselves and how they can create variety. Now let's see how those unique cells from meiosis come together to build a brand new organism, right from scratch. It all starts right here, at the moment of fertilization. 1 unique sperm cell and 1 unique egg cell, each carrying half the genetic information, they fuse together. And that creates the very first cell of a new individual. It's called a zygote, a complete genetic blueprint, all packed into a single cell. From that one single cell, an incredible cascade just explodes into action. Using mitosis, our copy machine, it divides. 1 cell becomes 2, then 4, then 8, until it forms this solid little ball of cells called a morula, and then a hollow ball called a blastula. This is the very, very beginning of an embryo. And here is where the real magic happens. I mean, how do all these identical cells know what they're supposed to become? Well, they organize themselves into 3 master blueprints, or germ layers. The outer layer, the ectoderm, that's going to become your skin and your brain. The middle layer, the mesoderm, forms your muscles and bones and heart. And that inner layer, the endoderm, creates the lining of your gut and your lungs. Every single part of you can be traced back to one of these 3 initial layers. And so our journey is complete. We went from a shared rulebook for all life on Earth, down to the cellular copy machines and slot machines that build and diversify us, all the way to the 3 master layers that form a new individual. It all comes from the same universal blueprint. When you really see it all laid out like that, isn't life just absolutely extraordinary? Thanks for joining me for this explainer.